everyone. This is my 4th time recording this, but I'm recording it again. So I'm going to do it right this time, I guess. Okay. I wanted to talk about we have the first American Pope before GTA 6. And I think this is a pretty big win for America. I want to start off by saying I am not Catholic, so it doesn't really quite pertain to me. So from an outside perspective, I think when I wasn't following when they were choosing the Pope, I wasn't really following it. But when I heard that it was somebody who was American, I was like, wow, this is, I felt excited. I almost felt proud to be American. Wow, we have the Pope that came from America. This is great for us. It was kind of the same way that I felt when I heard that Meghan Markle was going to marry Prince Harry. And it was wow, an American princess. I was like, wow, this is, I dropped my hair tie. I was like, wow, this is pretty big for America. I think it's really interesting because I heard a lot of people, I've seen different memes and stuff on the internet about how, okay, so here's an example. This is from Instagram. Somebody's father-in-law went into a group chat. Somebody's father-in-law went into a group chat talking about what they thought about the new Pope. And he said, "Pope should not be from Chicago. It's just wrong. I don't care about the rest of it. This is just aesthetically wrong. Sorry." Then somebody else said, "This is ungodly. You can't be American-born and close to God." And I thought that was interesting because America today has a really, I think even especially recently, has a very not good representation. Representation's that the word? A very bad look, internationally. Everybody, doesn't really like America for whatever different reasons. From a religious sense or a spiritual sense, whatever, places Los Angeles have been compared to Sodom and Gomorrah and so on. It's interesting to me that I hear people talk about, America is founded on Christian values and whatnot, but America is not a Christian country, and it hasn't been for a really long time. Maybe, when the Pilgrims came here, sure, but for a very long time, it has not been. Even if we go back to the whole manifest destiny idea, I don't remember it saying anywhere in the Bible, go out and conquer these lands and, make it so that they can't speak their language and whatnot. I don't remember that being in the Bible anywhere. In America, I think we take certain things and then the rest of it, we just throw it away. So there's a lot of people today, and this is not to shame anybody, but there's a lot of people who I would say, America is made of lukewarm Christians. So maybe these people identify as Christians, and they talk the talk, but they don't actually walk the walk. And so one of the best examples I have of this is I was watching the first few seasons of the show Jersey Shore, and all the guys would wear cross necklaces, but then they'd go out and they'd be getting drunk and bringing girls home every night and then kicking them out in the morning. And that's not Christian behavior, which is not to say that, all of us, make mistakes and, sin and whatnot, but that to repeatedly do that, that's not Christian behavior. And so just because people identify, and we might see on a census or some other kind of, survey that a certain amount of people are Christian, doesn't mean that they're actually Christian and talking the talk and walking the walk. I think it's interesting in how America is perceived. I don't want this to come off as saying that I agree with Andrew Tate's actions and words, but I thought I saw a clip of him on YouTube, and it was somebody had asked him about why he converted to Islam, and he said something about how America, it's whatever, but he went to a predominantly Muslim country and he felt the fear of God. Now that being said, Andrew Tate is not really Muslim either. He's not why did that go dark? He's not a religious person. He might say whatever he wants, but he doesn't actually follow through in his actions. But I think it's interesting that if you look at a religion like Islam that has, multiple different, praying 5 times a day or whatever, I think it's a lot harder to try to fake it. You know what I mean? Whereas in America, it's anybody can be a Christian, you can, do whatever, you're sure, blah, 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 whatever. And I think there is some merit to that in terms of come as you are, you know what I mean? You could be, you could be a drug dealer. You could become a Christian, that's fine. You can, because we're all sinners, you know what I'm saying? That's part of it, we're all equal. On the other hand, I think if you are really just doing whatever you want with no, whatever, then I wouldn't per se that is Christian behavior, right? And so I think that's where we see a lot of people today who have been saying, who are like, you know, how can these people call themselves Christians, but like they, you know, hate all these people and whatnot. And that's not real Christianity. If you're like hating all these people, then you're not actually practicing Christianity, because you're supposed to love your brother, you know? And so going back to with the Pope, I think it's pretty good for America, because America right now, we have kind of a bad reputation, reputation. That's the word I was looking for earlier. We have kind of this bad reputation, but then it shows how like God uses people who you don't always expect, right? So like when David killed Goliath, you know, he was just, you know, a little shepherd. And then Rahab was a prostitute, right? But she hid the spies in Jericho, and she's in like the direct, you know, genealogical line to Jesus Christ. So when like today, you might hear some people saying, oh, like if you have like a high body count and whatnot, like, you know, it's over for you, blah, blah, blah. That's not what the Bible preaches. The Bible shows how Rahab, who was a prostitute, is literally worthy enough to be in the line of Jesus Christ. So it shows how, you know, even if you're looking at some place that's, you know, very, very dark, there's little specks of light. And that's kind of how I feel about how we have this American Pope. Like it's a big win for America, I guess, that the Pope came from us. You know what I'm saying? After, you know, how we're viewed. I think it's good for us. We kind of redeem ourselves a little bit, I guess. I don't know if that's the right word, but yeah, that's kind of what I